Hey everybody, this is Michelle Barnes. The topic that I want to talk about today is closing. A lot of you have been sending me messages asking questions about moving people in the right direction, getting them to make the right decision as far as getting started in their business. Eric Worre covers an awesome closing segment, so definitely you can read it in GoPro. I'm going to go over some of the key questions that he has you ask from GoPro last week while we were there, which I think are totally awesome. So here's the thing with closing, guys. I mean, the most important thing is moving your people from exposure to exposure. And by doing that, that's going to increase their confidence. It's going to decrease their fear. That's our whole goal with that newest person, is to increase their confidence and decrease their fear. And through their entire lifetime in this business, your entire lifetime in this business, what you're doing is you're forever moving people from exposure to exposure, increasing their confidence, decreasing their fear. Even if they're, top money earners in the business, we're still doing that. We're still moving people from one exposure to the next, which is usually from event to an event to an event to an event. So let's talk a little bit about closing. So there's a few things that a lot of the top leaders that you'll see them doing. The first thing is that they're never going to take the outcome personal. Understand, if people say no, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to the opportunity, and typically it's a timing thing. Number two is they're very assumptive in their approach. They assume the sale. I just assume that everybody's going to get started with me. And thoughts are things, typically they do. So you want to be very rock solid in your approach, and you want to be very confident. A lot of this has to do with your posture, how you're carrying yourself, your confidence, your belief level. And a lot of times in the beginning, that's when we say fake it till you make it. And what I like to say, faith it till you make it. Just have faith that, you're going to get better and better the more you do it. So the other thing is they promote themselves. It's like, hey, you know what? We're going to do this thing together. We're going to rock this thing. I'm going to the top of this. Almost like you're emanating. Emanation is everything. We always say dogs and bees smell fear. Well, so do your new prospects. So if they can tell that you don't totally believe in yourself, chances of them following you are very small. So you want to make sure that you have that confidence in your approach. And you may have to fake that a little bit till you get better and better. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And then that confidence will actually be real. And then another thing is they're always prepared. You always want to make sure that you have, samples on hand. You want to make sure that you have order forms on hand. You want to make sure that you have, if you're using the roadmap to success, which is what we use, then you definitely want to have roadmaps on hand so that when that person says, yes, I'm ready to go, you can get them started and get them moving in the right direction and set up that next exposure to do a roadmap strategy session with them. The other thing is they ask questions after questions after questions. What new people typically do is they just talk way too much, and they usually talk people in and out of the business within one sitting. So you want to just listen more. So I'm going to give you guys some questions that'll lead people in the right direction. And also, like after the presentation, maybe after, use the tools, okay? It doesn't matter what works, it matters what duplicates. And that's why using the tools is so important in our business, because tools, if you're duplicating tools, then you're creating a team that's system dependent versus sponsor dependent. So use the videos, use the tools, use the roadmap, use the 8-step action plan, use those things. So here's the thing, guys. After, let's say you're at a home event and you've got 3 new prospects there. Right after the home event's over, you don't turn to them and say, so what'd you think? You're just leaving that open to the worst critic, okay? They could say anything at that point. So what you want to do, the very first question you want to ask them is say, hey, so what'd you like best about everything? What'd you like best about what you've seen so far? So number 1 is what'd you like best, okay? Number 2 is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you're not interested at all, 10 being you're ready to get started today, where do you see yourself? Okay, so again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being not interested or 1 being not interested at all, 10 being ready to get started today, where do you see yourself fitting in there? And then just zip it and let them answer. Number 3 is, if they say, oh, well, I'm a 7 or an 8, well, then that, okay, they're kind of getting closer and, they might have a few more questions or whatever. If they're like a 3 or 4, then we're probably going to need some more exposures to increase their confidence and decrease their fear to get them higher up on that 1 to 10 scale. Okay, but let's say they're like, a 7 or an 8 or something like that. Then you can just say, hey, obviously you have a full-time job. On a part-time basis, what type of income would you like to see on a monthly basis, part-time, to make this worth your time? Okay, so what would be your part-time income goal to make this worth your time? And let's say they say $1,000 a month. Okay, so if they say $1,000 a month, then your next question is, how many hours a week are you willing to put in to get to that $1,000 a month? And if they say, well, I can probably put in about 5 to 10 hours a week. Okay, great. Well, then your next question is, how many months, are you willing to put in that 5 to 10 hours a week, for how many months to get to that $1,000 a month? Now you're getting their time commitment, you're getting their long-term commitment, and you're getting their brain to start thinking more long-term instead of just like, oh, I'm going to give this 30 days to get to $1,000 a month, and if I don't get there, I'm out of here. Okay, and then the last question is, if I could show you a way, and then you're going to repeat their answers back to them from those questions. If I could show you a way in 5 to 10 hours a week to make $1,000 a month on a part-time basis, within the next 12 months, would you be ready to get started today? And then you zip it, okay? And so these 6 questions are in Eric Worre's GoPro book. And they're awesome, guys. They really do work. They're questions that I've been using for years myself, and it really does help move your person, and it helps you find out what their level of commitment is as well. So again, those questions are, what'd you like best on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 not being interested at all, 10 being ready to sign up today. Where do you fit in? Where do you see yourself? Number 3, on a part-time basis, what would be your income goal on a part-time basis doing this business on the side? And then how many hours a week would you be willing to commit to make that type of income? And then the other question is, and how many months would you be willing to do this 5 to 10 hours a week, for how many months to get to that type of income? And then if I could show you a way to do all of those things, would you be ready to get started today? So hope that helps you guys. Definitely read GoPro, read that section, read the entire book, read it over and over and over again. We talk about it all the time, guys. It's just mastering these skills, and you want to increase your own confidence and decrease your own fear by studying and practicing. And perfect practice makes perfect. So practice it over and over and over, grab somebody to role play with and get these skills down. So hope that helps you guys. Have an awesome day.